Welcome back to the Flaherty Solutions Podcast. I'm Erin Flaherty.
And I'm Kevin Flaherty.
So today we're talking about getting away from the blame game.
Yeah, which is going to be tough. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have gone through earth-shattering changes in their life, and now we are slowly getting back into reality. And for some people, their job might not be back when the world starts spinning again. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk to you about how to psychologically move past anger and frustration as quickly as possible so that you can get to that next stage of your life. And that's back to making money, back to hustling.
You and I are far from grief experts. We're actually like terrible people to speak on grief. But I will say that a lot of people have called this grief that we're all going through grief and different stages of grief. I mean, everyone started with shock.
Yes.
And trying to figure out what this was. There was some denial in there. So I'm not going to certainly take us through the steps of grief, but this has been a grieving process for a lot of people. But why don't you talk about the blame game that you're starting to see?
And so I was trained, let me make sure we can hear me. I was trained through a lot of corporate exercises on change. All right, how to deal, being in sales, you're thrown a lot of different items your way. You never know what you're going to get when you go on a sales call. So we had a lot of good formal training. And one of the trainings I never thought I was going to have in a million years was based on change and adapting to change. And it is a lot like the steps of grieving, of loss. And that's, at first you're bewildered, then comes anger, and then who's to blame. Now, there's a lot more steps to it. I'm not a professional in that matter, but I do play one on TV. So you can take this as 100% true. But the point is, anger is a really easy stage to get to, right? And then after that comes who to blame. All right, are we blaming the Chinese for this? Are we blaming our president for this? Are we blaming our boss?
Our governor.
Yeah, and then you go down this rabbit hole of hate and anger. Now, this feels really good, but it's also very counterproductive.
Well, and I'm the victim. If I'm blaming, then it means that I'm the victim. Yeah. And there's nothing I can, and helplessness, there's nothing that I did to do this, so there's nothing I can do about it.
Exactly. And you want to empower yourself to move past that stage as fast as possible so that you can move on with your life, not just to get back to whatever job you had, but to excel at your next job. But if you are spiraling down this rabbit hole of disdain and just being upset all the time that I'm the victim here, you're going to remain the victim. All right. And nobody is coming to knock on your door and pull you out of that trench unless you have a real good core group of friends, family. But if you're there self-loathing, it's not going to happen for you. And that spiral is just going to continue.
Right. On to the next situation. I mean, we've talked about this. This is round one of whatever this whole trend is going to be. Everyone's talking about the fall. There's going to be a resurge, it's going to come back and it's going to mutate. I mean, this is not the first time. This is not the last time that we're going to be affected by a global pandemic or something that is going to drastically shut down businesses. So what can you do? I'm actually going to kick us off of it.
Sure.
I mean, you kicked us off, but I'm going to kick off my portion. It's in the newsletter that I'm sending out tomorrow. And Tom Bilyeu, everyone knows I love Tom Bilyeu with Impact Theory. And he posted 7 ways to make yourself recession proof, because that's what this is. You know, is it technically a recession yet?
It's not technically, but it will be.
Okay.
I mean, we're in it.
We're headed toward it, we're in it, but is it until later that we can't be deemed a recession?
Yeah, you need 2 quarters of declining.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but we're there. I mean,
it will be a recession. Okay, gotcha. Well, thanks for that tidbit, because I didn't know what classifies as
I'm sure there's someone out there that's going to be like,
and then they need to refer to your Facebook rules about if you're. Why don't you talk about that?
I'm done with being politically correct on Facebook. I'm not blatantly going out there to start issues, but Erin told me there's a new thing called
Oh, trigger warning.
TW. You can't even put trigger
If
warning because that could be even
Yeah, if it
triggering.
might set someone off. Yeah.
But if you're supposed to put TW, and just when that happened, I snapped. I was like, no, I'm tired of everybody being a baby. Like, come on, put your pants on, get your diaper off. It's time. And we're all adults. And if you can't act like an adult, go over to TikTok, all right, and go do your little dances. But get off the big
love it.
boy and girl platform.
Oh, you know what? There was Zen Kevin, and now there's Un-PC Kevin.
And which I didn't think we were going to talk about today, but this, to me, what I'm seeing, we are going back to normal. I know everybody's
Soon.
like doing this trend, like the new normal. It's not going to be new. Yeah, no crap. We might get like temperature checked and stuff like that.
Masks,
but
yeah.
we are going back to being on the rabbit wheel.
Oh, the rat race.
The rat race faster than you think. Like all this people that are out that are like, oh, I'm not waking up at 5 a.m. anymore. Guess what? You're going to be.
Yeah.
And you're going to be back on that rat
You
race.
think I will?
Yeah, but you'll justify it in your head differently. Like, well, it's not because I'm chasing the rat race. It's because I get more done between
Yeah, I
5
can see
and
that.
7, and we're all going to justify it. But I think we're about to snap back.
Yeah.
And where the new normal, yes, we'll get temperature checked, but when you realize that you need to keep up to pay for things,
Right.
you're going to be like, well, yeah, this European holiday was nice, but I want to go on that trip to Cabo, and I want to afford my
Right.
weekends to Target, so it's back to work.
Well, right. So I would say that some people have been affected by the illness, like a very small percentage of people, but people have been affected by the illness and have had people either really sick or pass away. The majority of people have been affected by economically. Like the majority of people, I would say that's the more global impact of coronavirus, right? Is
Yeah.
that more people are impacted economically than anything else. I
Yeah.
mean, our lifestyles are shaken up and we have to spend time indoors, but the long-term effects is the finances.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact phrasing, but kind of like glass houses. Like we only see what's in our glass house. We're not seeing from go over to an area that doesn't have what you have.
Right.
Because we're not allowed to travel.
Right.
But even if we were, would we go drive through impoverished neighborhoods to
Right.
see firsthand? No, we live in our bubbles for a
But
reason.
that's what we are seeing from our glass house.
Yes, that our neighbors, our friends, they're going to be fine, but there's groups.
Yeah, there's
and
pay
groups.
cuts and layoffs and furloughs everywhere from people we know.
And I saw a great meme the other day. It was the Grim Reaper, a tiny Grim Reaper, and it was on his is that what it's
Okay,
called?
yeah.
It said coronavirus, and then there was a bigger Grim Reaper with a bigger and his said, just wait, it's my turn, and it said poverty and it was a very impactful image because I find that to be true. We could have a longer, more devastating effect from poverty.
And you brought up an interesting issue. Poverty also highlights the difference in privilege for kids learning at home right now.
Yes.
So I saw Brandy Biswell, who we talked about, who owns Foods Brothers Chimney Service in Kansas City, Kansas. She reposted something that said if we're about distance learning right now, if we're grading anything, we're grading privilege. Because the ones who can truly learn at home, I mean, it's a you-know-what show for
Yeah,
everybody right now.
yeah.
But the ones who can truly learn at home are the ones who have access to internet, computer, printer, who had these things already.
Yeah.
Maybe your average family or your emerging family doesn't have access to just like, I'll just go buy a printer now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we've had to shift. I mean, everybody, regardless of privilege and status, has had to make drastic changes on the education front, and all of a sudden has to be a homeschool teacher.
Yeah.
So that's also been the shakeup. So I feel like, so let me
Circle it back.
circle it back
That
to
was
Tom from Impact
my
Theory. No,
First tangent of the day.
no, I
There'll
like
be
it.
more.
It was
There'll
all
be more.
relevant. So 7 ways to make your software session proof, and then I have some thoughts on these afterward. Number 1, cut your expenses to the quick, which is great, but it's also going to affect the economy. It's one of those things where you have to do it. Everyone has to do it.
Yeah, but there's only like 1/10 of his followers will actually do that.
Right.
So,
But yeah,
do it
it's
for
but
yourself
it's worth,
because it will.
and it's
help
obvious
you.
and it's
Yeah.
easy to do. Number 2, stay clear-headed. Panic makes things worse.
Yeah.
So just not doing anything based on, oh my God, the world's ending, let's get all the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Staying level-headed. Number 3, live in a solutions-oriented mindset. And I really love this one, and I love a few more of them, because great businesses are built off of solving a problem.
Yeah.
So if there are so many opportunities right now to solve problems, this is a fantastic time to build something and invest in something and grow it. So live in a solutions-oriented mindset instead of the woe is me, how am I going to solve? Number 4, focus on the acquisition of skills. So is there something that you need to brush up to make yourself more marketable? You want to
Yes.
stop and say,
Yeah.
you
No,
look like you're dying to
the-
bust out with something.
After 2008, I was going through the grind of trying to find jobs that fit with my lifestyle and what I really wanted. And to find the career that I always wanted to do, I had to grind out passing exams. And I hated studying. And I'm not a good studier, but I wanted it. And when I went and took that test, I called you halfway through it, and I was like trembling in my voice because I didn't think I was going to pass. And
This wasn't the most recent one. This was this was the first one.
8 years ago
Okay.
now. And I was just trembling through it, but I didn't want to do any of that. But I knew if I kept going to these crappy sales jobs that I didn't really want to be in, that I wasn't going to find my
Be
happiness.
fulfilled.
Yeah, so I love
Right.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, get better skills.
We need to turn your screen to like where it stays on for like 5 minutes.
Oh, okay, I can do it.
Yours goes off in like 5 seconds.
I don't want my battery
like,
to die.
Mine's like at midnight, like just kill me now.
I know. So okay, so acquire skills. Be so good they can't ignore you. And that's good, because when I went to Rise Business and I saw Tom in person, I mean, I was 10 feet away from him, and people would ask him questions like, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I've acquired the skills. And he was like, if you're still not doing well, you're just not good enough yet.
Yeah.
And that's a valid, I mean, just because you want it and you've acquired the skills, you just have to get better, acquire those skills.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you're just not good enough yet. And then number 6, again, look for opportunities. Number 7, take massive action. I mean, so one opportunity that I'm seeing is in education right now. Yeah. Like, honestly, when I have time, I'm like thinking like in the shower, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're talking about how our kids might not go back to school fully in Maryland until January.
Nope.
That's an opportunity because how many you and I have the luxury of being able to, oh my God, every time, at being able to work from home. We have the luxury, but can you imagine ones who either cannot or they are on call all the time? I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have flexibility in our schedules to where we're not sitting in a call center. Parker, we need you to be much quieter, okay? Much quieter. So we don't have to be on from 8 to 5. So can you imagine, there are so many families that are in that situation where they have to go out and they've got small children at home. And now if Maryland kids don't go back fully until January, what does that do? So the biggest opportunity in my mind with my scope is education.
Yeah. You're thinking about, globally helping people. I'm thinking about what I can do for us.
Well,
and that's get a camper, and we're traveling in the fall if that's the case.
But
if they're not going to school.
You're still solving a problem, but I'm thinking, I think of business idea, and this one just popped up. I'm like, how many business ideas, how many businesses could come from this need? Because this is probably not the end. This is not the last time. And what's going to happen when there's an uptick in cases? Like, what's going to happen next time? Is our governor? Are we going to shut down again and again and again? If so, we need a solution for working families and distance learning that's sustainable and doesn't mean I follow the public school teachers, lessons while I'm trying to do my job. That's not sustainable. There's so many articles. This isn't sustainable.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why I think the governors are going to be forced by the people to return to sanity and start to bring back normals.
Right.
And so I'm not giving it as much thought as you are, because I don't see how they can delay school in the fall. Like, we turned off the year, and now everybody's kind of been working their way through it. But from an economic standpoint, people needing to go back to work, people needing to do their jobs, it's not in students' best interest to be at home not learning.
But the part of the plan in September, which is phase 2 for Maryland, is modified return to school. So
Don't see it happening.
Well, get ready, because
Yeah,
that's part of the plan. And
All right. Well, you heard it here first. We're placing bets.
Get ready, because they're talking about how kids will have masks. There won't be any more than 10 in a classroom at a time. There'll be social distancing. So it'll be like, Parker, your day is Monday to go to school. The rest of the week, you're distance learning.
If that's the case, and our kids are homeschooled, then we're out.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's that opportunity. So what could we do?
Yeah, but if that's the situation, it's not like you can open up a center to say, drop your kids off here.
No, I'm not thinking that. But this is where the work comes in. This is where the brainstorming comes in. I see the opportunity. Now I have to find the solution.
Yeah.
So,
if you want to be a student teacher to a degree, or deal with that field, then have at it. But
well, I'm not a bookkeeper, and I own a bookkeeping business. Like I don't.
But I'm saying, dealing with children, you should have a passion for that.
Right.
It's very hard to have a passion for numbers.
I'm a pretty good homeschooler, though.
You are,
right?
But when you have a gun to your head.
True, but you're missing the point.
No, I don't think I am.
It's opportunity. So that's all I got.
No, it is an opportunity.
That's not the only one. I mean, temperature, thermometers, like on-demand thermometer. Let's go medical. How
Absolutely.
many medical opportunities are there?
I think that's where the moneymaker's at.
How many recruiting and job searching opportunities are there?
Yes.
I mean, move over LinkedIn, move over ZipRecruiter. Like, what solution are we going to create in this new?
See, I can comprehend that
a lot
faster.
Then
When you start throwing the kids and where the opportunity is, then it's like, but aren't people going to want this as a free service?
You should be used to this by now. You come to me with like grill ideas, and I mean.
But
so this is my idea.
They're not in grilling children. So,
but you know what I'm saying? That's your idea.
The
this
children
is
are the wild card in this situation.
I think the fact that you don't fully get it means that I should
get
pursue it a little bit.
I get it, but when you think of Luann, who gets to stay open because she's a daycare that gets
Who's
to.
Luann? Oh, Allison. Oh, okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
She's open as a daycare because the kids that go there are for essential workers.
Right.
But then she's not allowed to charge.
Yeah, I know.
So as soon as you bring into this, like, I'm just thinking of that story, like, oh no, you're going to open a business that the government's going to say, like, you can't get paid.
By the way, I'm not talking about a center.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying anything related to children and essential workers, the government could just be like, well, you're doing a great public service, and we don't think you should get paid.
Right, I know.
Because now the governor of New York was like, please help, come, doctors, nurses, come, we need your help, and we're going to pay you a ton of money. And now he's like, but now we're going to tax the hell out of you because we need that money back. Mm-hmm. So whenever, I love where your heart is, but it's just like, I haven't thought how you do it without the red flags.
Well, and I threw this at you on podcast.
Yeah. I'm always scared. So this is something to take home. Back before I got my testing and license, I was being recruited hard to work for a solar company. And I could never pull the trigger to work for the solar company because they relied so much on government grants. And whenever I get pitched an idea about something to do with government and government grants, unless you are a seasoned government contractor that knows the ins and outs of how to get government contracts, please don't pitch me your idea, because living and dying off of the government is, from a business standpoint,
it's not our thing.
It's not our thing, and 90% of our revenue will come from government grants. Well, what if they decide not to give you those government grants?
Yeah, and I know, and I've been in consulting groups with people who are in the government world, and they're honest about it. They're like, they are consistent. They just take a certain amount of time to pay. Like, they're consistent. I mean, they're not. It's not often like loaded. You know, you're
Yeah.
not going to get maybe top dollar, but they're consistent, and you have to wait.
Yeah.
So they're, you know.
Well, I think it's our proximity to the federal government that we were right next to Fort Meade for so long, living in a tiny, tiny apartment, and we'd heard a lot of pitches like, oh, you can just do government contracting and you make all this money. But when you dig into a government contract, you have to pay certain amounts to certain people within your organization.
Right.
90% has to go to this, 70 has to go to this. That doesn't equal 100, but you get what I'm saying.
So let's get to solutions, because I feel like this is what you wanted to get at, is how you can control what you can control. I mean, we've talked about, you can do things like exercising at home just to improve your well-being. You know, how to get out of that self-loathing cycle
Yeah.
and get into making myself feel optimal, but also what am I going to do for next time? What am I going to do different?
Yeah. Well, besides, you should get moving your body because that gets your mind working. Whenever I go on walks or anything, that gets my mind racing and I come up with a ton of great ideas. When you start thinking of where you want to be, I always went back to the simplest form. That's a T chart. You draw a T on a piece of paper, right? And on the left-hand column, you write everything you like or you think you would like about your job, what you're good at. On the right-hand column, all the negatives. Then you draw another T and you match up. Well, it says I like talking to people on the left side. It says on the right side, I don't like paperwork. All right, so now I got to start matching it up to industry. Well, on the left side, sales, you talk to people.
Right.
Right side, bookkeeping.
Probably not. Hate numbers, probably not in
So
accounting.
you have to deep dive in the most simplistic way to understand what you really want to do. And then once you start narrowing that down, that's when you can start to get passionate. When you get passionate, you'll study for the exams you have to take. You'll make that phone call to the recruiter. Oh man, the recruiter's busy.
Right.
I don't want to. What if they tell me no? You'll break down those next doors because you're excited. You're popping out of bed in the morning. I can't wait to call. I have an interview in 2 weeks. Should I send a thank you? Should I prepare a thank you card for after the interview?
Right.
Thank you for
Right
taking
now.
the time. I'm looking for a job. I lost my job and I need to pay my bills.
And I'll do anything.
And maybe you have to because you do
Right.
have liabilities, bills you
Right.
have to pay. But you have to push. You're the only one that's going to push through to say, I want to get to that next level. I'm the one that needs to study. I'm the one that needs to send out my resume.
Right.
I need to, find out where this woman that's the recruiter, like what she cares about, and maybe join that organization and be on the board. You need to knock down your own barriers to get to the levels you want to get to.
And how is your relationship with money going to change in the future? Cash is, as Rachel Hollis says, cash is queen. You don't like it.
It's fine, Rachel. It's fine. Stop texting me all the time. It's weird.
Cash is king, cash is queen. Pick your poison. What is your relationship with money going to be in the future? If you could go back to yourself a year ago or 2 years ago, how would your decisions be different preparing for this pandemic and this time?
Yeah.
Do you feel like I gotta make more so that I can
do.
put more away?
Letting you know
Maybe
right
I
now.
shouldn't have paid off that car. Maybe I shouldn't have paid off my car early. Maybe I should have kept a little bit more. Maybe I don't know. The amount that you would have contributed to retirement, I don't know whether it would have been more or less, or how would your relationship be different? I think that's important.
Yeah, and that's something we've talked about in other podcasts, how to excel yourself into better financial situations. That's something you might want to go back and listen to because you need to, pushing to that next job, you need to come up with a strategy to push to your next income, whether you're already in your dream job, how do you get paid more for doing what you love?
And the advice wouldn't change, right?
Yep.
Sorry.
And how you need to push yourself to get to your own financial goals. Because just like no one's going to come knocking and drag you out of your house to, get that dream job of yours. Nobody's going to come knocking and saying, you really need to save more. Like this is on you.
Right.
Yo-yo.
Right.
You are the yo-yo generation. You are on your own. Yo-yo.
You're on your own. Is that what that is?
Yo-yo.
Yeah, I've heard that from you twice in the last week. I heard a YOLO. You
YOLO.
only live once. But would our advice change at all? Would our advice change at all from when we were in a...
Heck no. No, you need to, as long as you have job security, you need to push to make more money within your job, become the best within your job, and then save the best way you can so that you have things to fall back on.
One more thing, too, is framing what you offer, because we talked about another episode, we're all in sales. You're in sales, whether you don't have a job and you just simply, you're a homemaker and I don't know, we're all in sales.
Yeah.
Like whether you are just convincing the people to hang out with you or be around you, or whether you're trying to get a sales deal, we all are. So solve problems, think about where demand is right now. Where is, frame what you offer and make it a need and not a want. Maybe you used to offer something like luxury vacations. Well, right now that's not very in demand. So how can you take what your skills are and what you offer and cater them to what the world needs? What does the world need right now? They need food, they need delivery, they need medical, they need solutions to manage their families at home. Like all these things, like what do they need and what do you offer?
That's going to be the new app. How do I not kill my family while being quarantined at home?
Oh my God. It's like a marathon. Like you kind of get the runner's high after a while.
Yeah.
Like there are some weeks where it's just like, all right, we can do this. Like day 65,000, I feel like it was the hardest, like weeks 3 through 7.
This week's becoming hard, but for like different reasons. I think week 5, we were like,
I think everybody was like in a kill each other mode in week
but now
5 and
it's
6.
like,
But
I feel like everybody's hitting stir crazy mode. Like not
Right.
not towards each other,
No.
but just like
just done with
these
this crap.
walls. I need to get out of these walls.
Right. Yeah, that's all I got.
I had something else, but I'm going to leave it there because we were all over the place. But hopefully this helps. The main point is breakthrough. If you don't know how to do it, shoot us a message. I want to get to that next level, and we'll help you any way we can. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.